The scariest thing I have not told you, and that is that it was just a short while ago that Iran state television announced that there is going to be a big surprise tonight, one that will be remembered for centuries.
Is Iran coming out as trans?
Oh, perfect timing,
Yes,
Dave.
their pronouns are I ran and we ran.
What happens when three high school friends reunite during a Trump apocalypse? I'll tell you what happens. They do a podcast, little buddy.
The Iran episode.
You are watching Generation Exile.
Hi there. We have a very serious show today for you. Not that we're going to be serious, but there's serious things happening. We are a nation at war. And it's funny, we didn't have our Congress decide to go to war. No one really discussed, should we go to war? But some guy tweeted that we're at war, so we're at war. First off, Iran is the topic of the news today. And I fear a lot of things with Iran, but I fear that it will be the bulk of the news today. So buckle in, get ready, pick up some terms in Farsi for the discussion, and let's talk Iran.
It's a pretty big deal because when you're thinking about top stories of the week, I'm like, oh, well, there's Air India, there's Alex Padilla.
Yeah, a lot going on, right? The Karen Reed trial.
Who's on a retrial?
Karen Reed?
Oh.
See, you don't know who that is, do you?
No, I thought you said retrial. I didn't know who was going to get retrial.
No. Reed.
But no, I don't know who Karen Reed is.
Yeah. This is like the P. Diddy kind of thing. The wives are talking about this one, and we're all like, huh? Who? Karen Reed? It's like a corrupt cop story in Massachusetts, but we can't get into it. I apologize, audience. Maybe we'll get into it at a later date, but right now, we're talking Iran, and you're seeing this probably a day after we've had this discussion. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then? So hopefully we're still having a relevant conversation. But let's kind of back up and find how we got into this situation. How did we get into a war with Iran? Well, a few months ago, our DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, she spoke in front of a committee and told us what the intelligence community thought about Iran's nuclear capabilities. Dave, can we roll the Tulsi clip?
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
Oh, okay, good. We're okay then.
So that just brings up a couple of questions for me.
Are any of them about her hairstyle, with the white thing in the middle of the black stuff?
She's definitely auditioning for an arch villain role here. Like Jeremy said, yeah. Cruella de Vil or Esmeralda, maybe.
She has had her moment, by the way. Her moment has officially passed. This probably was her moment, getting the job of DNI. But just this past week, Donald Trump convened his war cabinet at Camp David, and guess who didn't get invited?
Tulsi Gabbard,
the head of intelligence, who you think might be helpful in these situations, but I don't run a government. What do I know? So yeah. Just for a little backgrounder on her, she had very spurious connections with Assad, the president, now former president of Syria, and that made her a little sus as a choice to have access to our intelligence. So all of a sudden he's not inviting her to important things. Maybe he's come around, but it's too goddamn late. And if she's the one telling us whether or not there are nuclear weapons being developed by Iran, and she's saying there aren't, then why is Donald Trump over the last week been saying Iran can't have nukes. He's repeating that mantra. Iran can't have nukes. He said it coming out of the Kennedy Theater after seeing Les Mis. I mean,
I know.
It's like
I remember.
Remember when they used to do those little roundups after a Broadway show? Go ahead, Dave.
Better than Gremlins, better than E.T., and Iran can't have nukes.
Right. For a kid to love a show like that, it's got to be great. You remember that guy?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So he came out and he said they can't have nukes. So we've been sort of doing a war dance for the last week, and our ally Israel took it upon themselves to attack Iran, killing key scientists and military personnel responsible for the nuclear program and destroying large swaths of Iran's nuclear development project that would become an arsenal. And that'll happen just in the last week. Yeah. And of course, Iran retaliated by firing missiles at Israel. Usually they come in like 6, 7 p.m. our time, which is now, right at population centers, buildings, and whatnot. I've been on the phone or WhatsApp with my brother all week as they keep running downstairs to the bomb shelter whenever the alert goes off.
He's in Tel Aviv, right?
He's not far from Tel Aviv. It's a small town called Ra'anana, and it's north of Tel Aviv. It's like a suburb of Tel Aviv.
So can we back up for a second?
Yes.
Because I have questions about what Ms. Gabbard said. That Iran has not had a nuclear program since 2003. Did I hear that correctly?
That's what she's asserting there,
okay.
Yes.
So I guess my question then is, why did Obama go through the hassle of making a treaty with Iran to stop their nuclear enrichment programs? And then why did Trump say, we don't need to do that?
This is a very important question. Obama and our intelligence community pre-Tulsi Gabbard believed that, yes, they were developing nuclear capabilities, and that's why the nuclear deal was sort of an olive-branched approach to stopping them by trying to make détente with Iran in ways that the Western world had not since the era of the Shah. And Trump put a kibosh to that. Thanks for bringing that up. In 2018, when he backed out of the Iran deal that would have ensured inspectors' ability to go in and check so that there wouldn't be any nuclear capabilities. So that all ended in the first Trump disaster. We're now in Trump disaster 2. Now, there is a tremendous division right now on the Republican side over what Trump seems to be doing. Now let's get into what he seems to be doing, because it's all happening today. Yes, Dave?
I had one more thing that I wanted to interject or ask.
Please.
Earlier you said that Israel took it upon themselves to attack Iran. And
yes.
I am of the opinion that Israel doesn't attack countries like that unless they have our okay and our say so.
Yeah, I didn't get into that, but you're absolutely right. Although there has been some disobeying America lately by Israel. So it's hard to know what to believe, because anything coming from Trump is usually a lie.
Yeah.
But it is believed that Trump advised Israel not to do this recent attack, and not to kill Khamenei, who Israel wanted to take out. And Netanyahu didn't listen, which is unusual and a first. When Joe Biden was president, even though Netanyahu would full-throatedly attack Biden, he still didn't cross the line from when when America said, don't do this. Now, why is Israel attacking Iran? Israel believes that Iran has a nuclear program. Israel understands that the missiles being fired at it before this conflict with Iran were sponsored Hamas missiles by Iran. And every enemy that Israel is facing, from Hamas to Hezbollah, are all funded and supported by Iran.
One could easily argue that they've been at war for a while, and that Iran has been at war with Israel through its proxy combatants.
Yes, a proxy
like you
war.
said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But not a war. So I guess that's where
Right.
we're at.
Well, it's like a Cold War,
exactly.
a Cold War and a proxy war, you know?
It's a Cold War and a proxy war with a side of a color war. And the war, unfortunately, has been unfortunately, the war, fortunately, has been tepid so far. Yes, there's been some deaths on both sides, but it hasn't been an all-out conflagration. And that takes me to today. Can we play Trump clip 1, please?
We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
What the
P.S.
fuck?
He is hiding at the Tehran Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, so that last part, that last part was not real. But yes, this is what Trump tweeted today among the next missive, which we're about to listen to. I just want you to understand that this is highly irresponsible tweeting coming from Donald Trump. And the one I didn't share is last night when he told all of Tehran, Iran's capital city, to evacuate.
I saw that, yeah.
There's like 10 million people living in Iran with traffic that goes, up the yin yang, according to some of the reporters I've been reading. There's no logistical way for all of Tehran to just evacuate at the social media behest of Donald Trump. So that was quite terrifying. Let's hear the other one, then we'll just discuss them all.
We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it. But it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. And have I mentioned I am now selling phones? Get your Trump mobile today, or before we all get nuked from my World War III, which I said Kamala would start.
Yeah, so that last part, was a
thank you for slipping that in there.
Yeah.
What's with the we shit?
Yeah,
we now have complete and total. Oh, are our birds up there too? Are our F-35s flying over Iran?
I'm so glad you honed in.
When you're the president, and particularly one who is in love with speaking in the first person plural.
Yeah.
We this, we that, we think it's a good idea. Like, he's a fucking king.
So we certainly elevates us to now being at war.
Well,
yeah.
we do not like war, and we hope it ends soon.
Yeah. Well, we have no say at this point in this junction. Trump keeps saying Iran can't have nukes. The intelligence community is not involved. The Congress is not involved. You guys remember all those Schoolhouse Rock cartoons we used to watch as kids?
Yes.
I guess Donald Trump didn't watch those. He doesn't understand how legislation happens.
Bill becomes a law.
Yeah.
But the Congress...
Oh, I hope and pray that I will, but today I am still just a bill.
Very nice, Mike. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Especially now that instead of the Congress deciding on these war activities, Donald Trump is. Although late today, in the afternoon, the Congress tried to do some shit. Where is it? The Congress War Powers Act resolution was proposed by a group of bipartisan senators, including and Congress people, including Bernie Sanders, I saw in the mix, and AOC on the left, but Tom Massey and a few others on the right, essentially not suggesting to Donald Trump that he can't get us into a war, but saying, hey, you don't have the power to, and this act is punishing anyone who does that without going through the proper channels. So we'll see what happens with that, but it does feel like a little too little, a little late. Well, what's the expression? A little too late. A little too little, a little too late? What's this expression? I can't think of.
It's is you is or is you ain't my baby.
So
the scary thing about going to war with Donald Trump is that, this isn't all part of a master plan that's been laid out with contingencies considered and, run through whatever passes for a quantum computer for a statistical analysis of probable outcomes. He's just winging this.
He's winging it.
And he's tweeting things that are, in this day and age, potentially you could consider them a declaration of war.
Yeah.
almost. He's saying, "Oh, we're at war now." Okay.
Didn't he
I
claim?
think we can.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Why not?
One at a time.
I think we can see some of his love for films coming out in this recent blast of social media posts, because he likes using phrases, and as if we all don't know what taking someone out means. Oh, thank you for that translation. It means to kill.
Yes.
Oh, I thought they went on a date. Thank you for explaining that.
He's. I find it very disturbing how he's almost trying to zhuzh it up or sell some sizzle in the process. No, this is not how America should go to war.
The scariest thing I have not told you, and that is that it was just a short while ago that Iran state television announced that there is going to be a big surprise tonight, one that will be remembered for centuries.
Is Iran coming out as trans?
Oh, perfect timing.
Yes,
Dave.
their pronouns are I ran and we ran.
I think it's they ran and them ran, but
Someone's running, and it's gonna be me. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the
scares
surprise
me
is.
About Iran is that since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, their government has been radical fundamentalist Islam and supporting terrorism at every opportunity. They underwrite it. They are probably the biggest global underwriter of terrorism. I mean, unless somehow the Qatar beats them by the numbers, but
I don't think so.
No, and so in a way, I'm kind of thrilled to see their nuclear capable assets being taken out, and top leaders. I could watch that all day long, because I truly believe that if Iran did possess a nuclear weapon, they wouldn't probably hesitate to use it on Israel. I'm sorry to say.
What is the surprise going to be? An attack on Israel or an attack on America?
none of that would be surprising, to be honest.
If they had a nuke, I think all.
Wait a minute. Iran's going
to
blow something up, and Dave's going to be like, "I'm sorry, I knew about your surprise."
Not that I knew it, but it's
a surprise party.
It's what they do. It's like it's like being surprised when Donald Trump lies. It's just what they do,
right?
The Iranian government is violent and cruel, and
yes, and when you talk about the expense and the difficulty of mustering up a fissile bomb, let's say Hiroshima level or better type explosion, are you going to risk trying to cross that thing across the ocean to waste it on America when you could? I mean, they hate Israel more, and it's so tantalizingly close. So,
I don't know. Those chants are death to Israel, death to America. We're in the top two.
Hi, this is Casey Kasem with the Iranian Top 2, holding the #1 spot this week for the 2,399th week in a row, a chant that lives in the hearts of Iranians everywhere under penalty of death. It's your favorite and mine, death to Israel.
Iran is not a backwoods country. They are actually pretty modern and technologically advanced, and they've been spending their money, unlike us, on building museums and Kennedy centers and NASCAR arenas, on coming up with ways to murder Americans and Israelis. So is it feasible that they have some sort of dirty bomb situation, in the well-placed target, soft target here in the U.S. through our porous borders that everyone's been complaining about for the last, 8 years? Anything is possible. Anything's on the table, which leads me to this next news story. Just moments before I came onto this podcast, DHS Kristi Noem was rushed to the emergency room.
For what? Do we know?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Is it feasible that Iran is targeting secretary people or cabinet members? Is that possible?
I think she's having herself rushed to the emergency room because she thinks she'll find deportable people there in the emergency room.
She's going to peekaboo out of her
And she's right.
Her gurney.
They're gonna rappel out of the ceiling. Those cheesy little styrofoam tiles that the hospital has.
Right.
And they're gonna round up all the Latinos.
There's someone I wanted to bring into the conversation. So the ambassador to Israel is none other than former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee. And if you don't know who Mike Huckabee is,
you're lucky.
You're living under a rock. But he's been
he's
been all sorts of evangelical awful for decades now. Some of his most pivotal moments were just anything anti-gay, lesbian, bisexual, anything. The guy was a Fox News host, but he also is one of these evangelicals that Israel has embraced, sadly to me, and that gave him the gift job from Donald Trump as ambassador to Israel. So what is the ambassador of Israel telling Donald Trump at this time? What words of encouragement is he giving him? Please play the clip.
Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania to be the most consequential president in a century, maybe ever. The decisions on your shoulders I would not want to be made by anyone else. You have many voices speaking to you, sir, but there is only one voice that matters, his voice. I am your appointed servant in this land and am available for you, but I do not try to get in your presence often because I trust your instincts. No president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours, not since Truman in 1945. I don't reach out to persuade you, only to encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine or Anya Nelson's. You sent me to Israel to be your eyes, ears, and voice, and to make sure our flag flies above our embassy. My job is to be the last one to leave. I will not abandon this post. Our flag will not come down. You did not seek this moment. This moment sought you. It is my honor to serve you. Do you guys have any extra towels you can send up to my suite and some more of those schnitzels? I love those. And double ice cream this time. I am the ambassador. And do you have Pepto-Bismol or some other tummy calmer? Because I have Jerusalem belly pretty bad. I know y'all sell mud here, but nobody is going to want the mud I am making up in my room.
All right, so some of that I added, but how terrifying is it that this evangelical nightmare is kind of giving Trump the God message in his decision-making of World War III.
Well, this is why Christians are on the side of Israel. It has nothing to do with politics. They think the Jews have to remain in control of Jerusalem so that Jesus will come back and, start the rapture. Yeah. That's the political reality.
It's very frustrating how much Israel has embraced the evangelical movement, but I've talked to friends of mine who live in Israel, and it's they think we're gonna all die when the rapture happens, but in the meanwhile we get their support, they're putting money into the country, and they're voting on pro-Israel policies. So it's hard to break them of that fix. Unfortunately, what they sort of fail to see is all the bad things that come with it, from the oppressive policies towards women and gays and lesbians and the other stuff. But you could see this guy, Mike Huckabee, he's got his little, seat in Israel. I don't know what the hell he's talking about in terms of keeping the flag. Like, what scenario would they take the American flag down in an embassy in Israel? Like, what is he imagining? What is he imagining?
Well, his rhetoric is very, I would say, melodramatic, and there's a word for it. Like you're
hysterical.
Expecting the end of the world to come, and so you're sort of bracing yourself for that, but you're not freaking out,
right? Because you want it.
Yeah. That's scary stuff to be hearing from an ambassador.
Where did that recording come from, or did you AI the whole thing and it was a direct quote?
Added music to it to make it sound more floral.
But was that him actually speaking at the beginning?
No, he wrote what I
had
him say using AI. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump and Mike Huckabee were courtesy of Halu AI. But those are their words. I'm just, putting their voice to it. So that scares me, that stuff. I want there to be a separation of church and state for this exact reason. You don't need like a holy roller who's like pushing for the end of times, advising the president in any capacity. And Donald Trump retweeted whatever this idiot wrote, to his millions of followers. So it goes quickly from being one man's like craziness to everybody's sort of understanding of the situation. And that just terrifies me.
It reminds me a lot of Dr. Strangelove. You remember that movie?
Yeah, sure.
And at the end, the very few wealthy and powerful decide, maybe the end of the world isn't all that bad if, we get to stay in a bunker with plenty of women with which to procreate.
Yeah.
Right.
I have no doubt that Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump would have no compunctions about going for self in that kind of scenario. I don't know. I hope there are others who would keep it from happening.
We're in a wacky time right now. Donald Trump had a military parade just a few short days ago on his birthday that was largely a flop by all extensive purposes. Nobody showed.
And by the way, kudos to the United States military, because I think the United States military might have sandbagged our president a little bit.
You talking about like not marching at the same in syncopation?
Not marching
like
in
that kind of thing?
syncopation, massive space in between all the tanks. The one old creaky tank that was just sadly like I know the people up top, the career military people were not happy about this. They're speaking of people who sacrifice themselves for something bigger. That's who those people are, and so they were not happy about the way this looked, the optics, and you could see it in their faces.
The optics are horrible.
The optics are horrible, and they made sure that the optics. I think they made sure that the optics were horrible, because a friend of mine pointed out, like day one, you learn how to march in syncopation. That's basic training stuff. So by the time you get to the parade, if you can't do it, you're doing that on purpose.
Right. Yeah,
that makes sense.
I've been sort of hearing and seeing that in the sort of post-parade summary, and I am happy to see that. We need like everyone to pitch in. We are in a crisis situation. I mean, we're sort of joking around a little bit, but the idea of going to war with Iran, I remember when we were kids, there was a movie that they used to show on HBO probably. I think it was like a Nostradamus prediction, movie that with like scary music. It was terrifying. And one of the predictions was that some nation...
Blue turban?
Yes.
Are you going to mention the blue turban?
Yeah, one of the predictions was some guy in a blue turban nuking us. I never forgot that. That's like a lot of years ago, 40 years ago or something like that.
I am Googling the turban colors of the Iranian government. Hold on.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, I'm always scanning the press for any blue turbans, and if I see one, oh boy, you better believe I'm not going to be happy about it.
I mean, that was enough imagery as a kid, to sort of freak you out. I'm looking for the name of that movie. Do you remember it, Michael? The Man Who Saw Tomorrow? Was that the one?
I think that's the name of it. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, The Man Who Saw Tomorrow was pretty freaky. And the predictions in there was a king of terror wearing a blue turban, described as the terror of mankind, would rise to power from Greater Arabia during the late 1990s. All right, he's off by a few decades. Wage war around the world and spread the influence of Islamic fundamentalism, along with the decreasing influence of Christianity. And Nostradamus claimed that the king of terror would form an alliance with Russia. And according to Nostradamus, the king of terror and Russia would wage World War III against the West, which is the United States, UK, and France, starting with a nuclear strike on New York City, and the sky would burn at 45 degrees, fire approaching the great new city. That's how it went.
Right.
But
I have good news for you.
Yes.
In Shia Islam, white turbans are commonplace, and black turbans signify descent from the prophet, but in no situations do they wear blue turbans. Blue turbans are not a feature of Shia clerical dress, and if you see a blue turban in a religious context, it is a Sikh, which is Indian, and they are a quote-unquote warrior race. that's what they call themselves, but that warrior manifests itself as like the chillest, coolest people around. So I don't think.
Well,
I don't think
I
they're
got
going to.
bad news.
Yeah,
I got bad news for you, Dave. Does this image ring any bells?
it does.
What if Notre Dame thought he saw a blue turban, but in actuality saw the other?
This is terrifying. All right.
I knew it would be scary at some point to
God
you.
damn it.
Yes. So yeah, things are a little verstunkene, if I might sum it up with a little Yiddish.
It's scary. I mean, I hear different things about how long it would take Iran to put together a viable nuclear weapon. You know, some say days, some say weeks, but they're clearly working on it. It's clearly an objective. Look, nobody's happy that Kim Jong-un has nuclear weapons, but now that he does, we have to play our hand accordingly. I'm very pleased to see Israel take the action that they did. I think whether it was intentional, like, this goes back to Trump with no collusion. Did he collude with Israel to, be talking peace so that Israel had a moment to catch Iran by surprise? Maybe. Maybe Israel just acted on their own, but, they don't generally feel they have a terribly long leash when it comes to how far they break from the wishes of the administration.
Right.
I don't trust Trump to make the right decisions in such a difficult, nuanced quagmire of conflict.
I don't trust anyone involved on any side of this. I don't trust Trump and his cabinet. I don't trust Netanyahu and his cabinet. I don't trust anybody in Iran and what their cabinets are, like, to me, this is like decades old grudge matches between governments, and then there's all of us citizens at the bottom who are just watching it happen, and and especially in Israel and in Iran, they're going to be catching the shrapnel, literal shrapnel.
Yeah, collateral damage.
Yeah.
Have you seen photos of like pre-revolutionary Iran? How like progressive and awesome.
Yeah. It looked amazing, and there is still like a vibrant civilian community in Iran. There are artists, there are poets, there are people who wear bell bottoms. I don't know how else to like simply say it, but they're there and they just want to live, and they are being oppressed. And the people in Israel are not being oppressed, but they are living through some shit. And the people in Gaza are clearly living through some shit, and we're just watching it, but we might be involved soon too,
There was a big protest in Iran a year or two ago, that 21-year-old girl who got beaten to death by the morality police because she wasn't wearing her hijab and her hair was all devilishly loose and visible. And there was something of a movement that I guess didn't get enough traction to make any change, but you got to read that the population is not happy with who's in power.
Yeah. Do you know what the biggest irony of all of it is? Is that America's leadership today is trying to inch us closer to the reality that is present-day Iran. They want a morality police.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of people that don't believe the same ideology as they are. They want them deported from the country. They want to have full control over everything that people see, read, hear, wear. I mean, that's pretty much what the MAGA movement has been pushing us to, is some idealized, MAGA version of Iran. And yet that's who they're angry with. It's like, oh, look how evil they are over there. It's like, you're trying to bring us to that level of evil here.
Well, they hate us because of our freedoms. So fuck them. We'll get rid of our freedoms.
Yeah, right.
That'll own them.
I watched the New York State Comptroller, Brad Lender. I think he's running for mayor.
There's a guy named Lender who's a controller.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the mayoral candidate who was just arrested. Yeah. Right? He was
by the
escorting
ICE squad. He was
escorting an immigrant out of court.
Did you watch that footage?
If I'm not mistaken.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
And, I'm going to see if I can find it.
Am I stepping on your toes, Jer?
No, I don't have that clip. So
I'm going to find it.
Yeah, he was escorting a defendant out of immigration court. And
he locked arms with him in order to be protective, and he kept shouting to the ICE agents, "Do you have a court order to arrest this man?" And they were not, they were not wearing uniforms. They had masks on. It's the thug brigade, the morality police.
The Alex Padilla treatment.
He got the Alex Padilla treatment, and not only that, but they took him away and locked him in some room. They don't have the right to do. You can't arrest an American citizen.
Not without charging them. You have to charge them within 24 hours. Release them.
They're just, there's no leash on these guys, and they're all like, Donald Trump is saying, yeah, ICE can do what they should. Yeah, this is it. Should we watch this together and get outraged?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you'll love this.
Do you have a judicial warrant? Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant? I have it in my hand here. You're obstructing. You're obstructing. I take to see the warrant. Put him in custody. Take him back. Take him in. Take him in. Step back. You don't have authority. You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant by asking for a judicial warrant.
Wow.
You don't have the authority to.
What willpower this guy has to not go ape shit and to start. Who are these dudes working security here with the Yankees cap and the backwards cap?
Yep.
They certainly look hunky and muscular.
I'll say, it's funny, you're talking about his restraint, and I'm sitting there watching him like try and reason with them, and I know he's doing it for the cameras, that he doesn't expect them to answer.
Hey, he's running for mayor.
Yeah, but for me, the only option there is to be like, who's ever touching my dick, it feels really good. Can you do it a little harder? Okay. Up the butt is a little too much. Who is it? You just make a big scene about them being super gay, and they will back off.
Yeah. He didn't think of that.
No,
he didn't think of that.
I've gotten out of a headlock
that's
that
the
way.
thug repellent.
Yeah, no, I've gotten out of headlocks that way multiple times.
I don't know if there's enough runway for this guy to become mayor, but this surely is going to give him a bump in his race. He'll be lionized and heroically, put on a pedestal for his very heroic behavior in that instance.
Yeah.
So we need more people like that guy to do what he's doing, because people are being disappeared everywhere. Heartbreaking. At immigration court, like someone has a date in court, an immigration court, shows up, and that's when they're choosing to arrest them. That's some cowardly dog shit. That's Stephen Miller 101.
It is Stephen Miller stuff. And so is going to Home Depot and going to job recruitment fairs. And all these other tactics that they're using.
And hotels and restaurants.
Yep. It's
and Trump said, and we should probably wrap here before 7 o'clock, but Trump said that he was going to lay off the hotel and field working immigrants because the industries were getting hurt by it, and then reversed and said, no, just go get them.
Yeah, back and forth.
That's the news, and I am sad.
Those guys called ice, not the name on your beer. Got no chill, ain't nice, just some dollar store fear. Popping up like farts right out of thin air, collecting people like carts at Home Depot right there. They roll up slow in a beat-up van, mirrored shades like some weekend clan. No badge, no name, just steroids and rage. Ain't upholding law, just what Trump done staged. Ain't no heroes, ain't so brave, just ice on draft. Third world thugs, playing at a thug stagecraft. No warrants to read, it's not their tune. Singing Trump's hits, Stephen Miller's goons. Ice cold light, bullets don't fake fights. No spine, no froth, just taking away rights. They banish your cousin, your boss, your wife. Just proud boys and powered MAGA low lives. You go to court like you're told to do. Next thing you know, they done came for you. in baseball caps and unmarked cars, with the law on mute and Constitution disbarred. One guy helped our troops abroad, spoke the lingo in the Afghan wars, promised him shelter, gave him chains. Thank you for your service, now get on a train. Ice cold light, buzzed on fake fights, no spine, no froth, just taking away your rights. They banish your cousin, your boss, your wife, just proud boys and powered MAGA low lives. One senator spoke out at a presser, they jumped on his ass like John Hinckley Jr. Can't interrupt good old DHS Christie unless she's in need of an antihistamine. And one state official stepped into the hall, tried to do right, they made him fall. Didn't matter if it's courtroom air, ICE don't knock when no one cares. Need diapers at Walmart, ICE is near. Came for your green card, you'll disappear. Following procedure, they don't care. Fought for this country, way over there. Ice cold light like beach beer gone warm. All show, no soul and no uniforms. They puff like pirates, vanish like mist, leave a line which of fear like a dictator's fist. Ice cold light like this is a stale, just melted pride. Americans who failed, they flex, they hide, flout laws in plain sight. The tiki torch feds of a Friday night. They ain't no rescue squad, just a bad bar fight. Ice cold light in a cooler spike.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me?
You are watching Generation Exile.